some information about the program. I've got some privileged, wonderful guest speakers that are going to present to you. We also have students in the back who are going to be recording our session so that I can post it. I know sometimes people, especially now, are a little reticent to come out. So this will give people an opportunity to get to know a little bit about the program if they weren't able to sit with us this evening. So, without further ado, I'd also like to introduce my partner in crime, Leslie Carlson. She is the DP, or the Diploma Program Coordinator. She'll speak with you a little bit later about the Diploma Program. And Mrs. Lacey, our principal, will be in shortly, and she'll give you a short address when she comes in. But like I said, I wanted to make sure that we got the ball rolling. I hope you all enjoyed my musical interlude. I always stress about picking appropriate music. So I want something that everybody's gonna kind of like and make you tap your toes, but doesn't really get racy. So I went with 70s, mellow sounds of the 70s, so I hope it's okay. So we're here this evening to present information regarding the International Baccalaureate programs here at Mount Pleasant High School. So an IB World School offers a global curriculum. So we aim to develop inquiring, knowledgeable, and caring young people who create a better and more peaceful world through intercultural understanding and respect. So that's really a mouthful. So to break it kind of down, what we'd like to do is we work with our students to broaden their global perspective. It's not just about what's happening to you, it's not just about what's happening to your friends, it's about kind of starting to think about what's happening globally, how we're learning things in school and how those things tie to what's going on in the real world. So we stress a lot of real world relevance, you'll hear that a lot. We stress a lot of comparing things that you're learning in books to things that you're seeing in the news. And depending on the kind of student you are, that could be very important. I was the kind of kid who, I got bored with facts, I got bored with books, I got bored with reading stuff and just answering questions. I wanted to talk about it, I wanted to write about it, I wanted to talk about it from other perspectives. I'm a counselor, I like to talk. So this is a program for students who really enjoy that. People ask a lot of times, what's the difference between AP and IB? And one of the biggest differences is that depth. So with AP, you're going to get a lot of facts, you're going to get a lot of information, you're going to be asked to repeat those facts and give that information back. And it's going to be content specific, so it may just be AP English, it may just be AP Math, it may just be AP Social Studies. With IB, it's a cross-curricular program, so our curriculum spans all of the subject areas. And not only are we going to learn those same facts, but like I mentioned before, we're going to talk about it, we're going to write about it, we're going to discuss it in class, we're going to talk about other people's perspectives. Because I really like my kids to know it's not just what goes on in your head that's important, it's what goes on in kind of everybody's head that we need to be cognizant of. And if I start talking too fast, I apologize. When I get passionate about stuff, I tend to roll kind of fast. So you can, and especially you guys, you can give me the high sign like I need to bring it in. So IBO's mission. The International Baccalaureate aims to develop inquiring, knowledgeable, and young people, as we just discussed. So what is an IB education? IB education is based on 6 key pedagogical principles. It's going to be based on inquiry. It's going to be an education that's focused on conceptual understanding. Again, not just learning those facts, but learning the concepts and the deeper meaning under those facts. Developed in local and global contexts. So we're not just going to be talking about what's going on in our community, we're going to be talking about what's going on in communities around the world. Focused on effective teamwork and collaboration. We do a lot of talking, like I said, we do a lot of working together. It's very important as our children matriculate and go on to the next phase in life that they're able to work with a wide variety of people, not just their friends, but people that come from other cultures and other areas and other communities. We want to make sure that we're fostering that collaboration and communication. It's going to be something that's differentiated to meet the needs of all learners. So no, we don't all learn the same way. I'm a very auditory learner, right? I like to hear things and I like to write it down. Some kids like to read things. Some people, like to actually do hands-on things. Same ringtone. I thought I turned my phone off. So we meet kids where they are. We offer lots of different learning opportunities so that kids get an opportunity to shine in the area that really benefits them the most. And it's informed by assessment. So we move based on how the kids are performing on our assessments. We do something, we try it out, and then based on that, we move forward or we spend a little bit more time. So our curriculum is informed by assessment. IB learners are students that like to think critically and solve complex problems. Our kids like to drive their own learning. It's not just about me telling you what to do. I like kids to own their education. I like kids to own the things that they're learning. That's what makes it exciting. When you can turn it into something that is personal, that's when that deep learning happens. It's a core part in educational programs that can lead to some of the most highest ranking universities around the world. When you take a look at the information, some of that I left in the back, And if you log on to ibo.org, you'll see all this information as well. Colleges and universities respect the students that we put out because we are really training them to, again, advocate for themselves and really start thinking outside the box in terms of changes and things that are going on in the world. They're more culturally aware of the development of a second language. We stress the learning of a second language. Students coming into the program are to be at a second level, so level 2 Spanish or French. If your student's not there, we have other ways that we can actually either get them there or work towards getting them there. And our students will take foreign language or world language all throughout high school, so that's going to be 4 years. By the time they leave us, they are going to be able to speak, talk about, really discuss, read information, and really be out there in the community speaking a separate language. One of my favorite field trips that we ever went on was to the Delaware Museum of Art. They had a French Impressionist exhibit, and this was pre-COVID. So we had our French 3 and 4 students go out. And so our French 4 students studied all the paintings, and they prepared an informational talk about each of the paintings. So they went around and in French gave a little bit of speech about each painting. And then our 3s were charged with asking questions in French and then getting those responses in French. I don't speak French. I speak some Spanish, I don't speak French. But just being able to walk around and listen to them, I was so amazed. And what really kicked me was all the other people in the museum who were looking at them like, who are these kids and what are they doing? It was really impressive, and it was really exciting to really see them, again, use that real world knowledge to apply it to something that was actually going on in the world. They're able to engage with people in an increasingly globalized, rapidly changing world. We are a rapidly changing world, and that's one of the things that we focus on, that our kids are going to be learning new technologies and using those new research methods and really kind of staying on the cusp of things that are going on educationally. The IB World programs are based on learner profile traits, and they're listed here. The traits are age appropriate for the program. The middle years and diploma programs follow the IB characteristics that they lay out. Each trait focuses on what I like to call soft skills, so you'll sometimes hear those words, soft skills that are necessary for success. Looking at these skills, I think we'd all agree that not each one of them serves a specific purpose, and not just in the academic arena, but in life. I don't think there's any one of us who wouldn't want to be an inquirer, or somebody who's knowledgeable, or somebody who's a thinker, or somebody who communicates, and somebody who's principled, or open-minded, or caring, or risk-taker, and balanced, and reflective. And as they go through their lessons, those words keep popping up, and the kids get an opportunity to show those different characteristics through the lessons that they're learning and the activities that they're doing in class. While all schools offer exciting programs, and I'm not saying that obviously they don't. All of our district schools offer exciting programs. What I like about this program is it offers diverse and extensive options in educational programming. Research has proven that our middle years program students outperform their non-IB peers in mathematics, reading, narrative writing, and expository writing. And again, all of those, we're not just going to do it, we're going to talk about it, we're going to think about it, we're going to write about it. Students who participate in our diploma program during high school are more academically adjusted to the rigor and the expectations of college. In 2 weeks, we're going to have an alumni panel. And what the alumni panel is, we invite our students that graduated last year to come back. They get their IB diplomas, and they do a they do a Q&A with our underclassmen. And what we always find is all of the kids, no matter how they loved it, hated it, if I had to drag them through, if I had to kick them, however they got to the end, when they look back, they'll always say, I got to college 100% prepared for everything that they asked me to do. I may not have liked everything that you did here, I may not have agreed with everything that we did here, but when I walked onto that campus and I started getting assignments, I was like, all right, I got this. And I was looking at other people, your roommates and other people who were stressing out, pulling out their hair, they can't get this done, they don't know how to write this paper, they're really kind of overwhelmed. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like, this is cake, I got this. So even at the worst, when the kids leave, they always agree, and I'm sure we'll hear it again in 2 weeks, I really was prepared when I got to school. And it also leaves them a lot of time to join clubs and organizations and go do things and really live that college experience without having to worry so much about getting the work done and the grades and everything else, because they got that piece. Mrs. Lacey, would you like to jump in before I talk about the middle years program? No, she said, roll on. Okay, so here I go. As the middle years program coordinator, as I mentioned, I oversee the coordination of the program between Talia and Mount Pleasant High School. In addition to that, I'm the counselor for the 9th and 10th grade students. So while the students are in 9th and 10th grade, I'll be their school counselor. When they turn to the diploma program, which is 11th and 12th grade, I will do my very best to hand them over to Mrs. Carlson, although I don't really do a good job at that. I tend to like to keep them and keep doing things for them and keep talking to them because I really enjoy what I do and I really enjoy my kids. So I do my best to kind of transition them over. The middle years program, as I mentioned, covers grades 6 through 10 with a framework of academic challenge. Students take part in the 8 subject groups just like everybody else. So we're going to have our math. Students will come in taking either Algebra 2 or Geometry. And they'll transition to sophomore year. If they started in Geometry, they'll transition to Algebra 2. If they started with Algebra 2, they'll transition to our IB math track. So that's going to be applications and interpretations or analysis and approaches. They recently changed the math classes on me, so I'm still getting used to that verbiage. Science, so what we're looking at is when students come in, they're going to be taking the integrated science. Typically, freshmen take biology, but our students take integrated science because there's a 2-year college-level biology course that they'll take during junior and senior year. So we don't want to have biology freshman year, biology junior year, and biology senior year. And then 10th grade, they'll take chemistry. English, social studies, which means they'll come in taking civics and they'll transition to world history as a sophomore. World language, so again, that's either Spanish or French. Health and phys ed, everybody takes that. And then design, both physical design and product design. 2 of our students in the back who are responsible for recording us today are part of the digital design program. They're also IB students. They're here filming that for us today. And then we also offer visual and musical arts. There's also a service component to the program. My freshmen and my sophomores have to complete 15 hours of community service. I give them information that they can do, and they also come to me with things. I usually tell my kids, as long as you're not being paid for it and you're helping somebody else, I'm going to count it as service. That's not to include cleaning your room, or doing the dishes, or cleaning up after the dog, or anything you're supposed to normally do. Anything extra that you're doing above and beyond outside of the home is something I'm going to be able to count as service. The culminating project in NYP is a personal project. When students are sophomores, they'll engage in a 5-month-long independent learning project where they pick the topic themselves. They have 5 months to complete the topic. They have an advisor in the building who helps them that they have to meet with at least 3 times. And what I love about the personal project, and there's a few pictures that you'll see. Well, that's a field trip that we took to Philadelphia. Thank you. What I like about the project is it is one of the students' first opportunities to really lead their own learning. I don't tell them what to do. I just tell them when it's due. So this year I have a student who is working on becoming an expert marksman. I have a student who is working on teaching her friend how to play volleyball. I have somebody else who's choreographing a 5-minute dance routine, and I have students that are learning the routine from her. I have a student who's learning Arabic. I have a student who's learning sign language. I have a student who is working on a project involving hydroponics. So it can literally be anything. And they are the person who is driving that process. They come up with a topic, I give them a few little deadlines. I just need to know what you're doing by here, and it needs to be done by, March. And then we have a personal project showcase in March. It culminates all of the skills and the tactics that we're trying to teach the children. They get a chance to express that and really kind of learn it. And they're leading their own learning because I'm not leaning over their shoulder telling them do this, do this, do this. They're working through that process on their own. I get you from it, and I want to make sure that there's certain things I make sure that I tell you instead of just talking so much. The middle years program is aligned with the diploma program around the approaches to teaching and learning. You'll find them throughout both programs. An emphasis on thinking, communication, social skills, self-management, and research are the underpinning of both programs. Those are the things that the children are going to be doing over and over and over again, really honing those areas and those skills. Students must also participate in service hours, as I mentioned, in 9th and 10th grade and a personal project. This also develops their independent research skills, and they pick a topic that's something they're passionate about. IB students in our program, in addition to being well-rounded, have really put their stamp on this program, put their stamp on this building. IB students are responsible for the creation of school organizations such as our Black Student Union, Volunteers, which is a totally student-run volunteer organization, meditation and wellness groups, and our local chapter at the JSA are all groups that were started in the past 2 to 3 years by IB students. So now I'm going to take a step away from the microphone. I'm going to have Ms. Carlson come up and tell you a little bit about the diploma program.
Good evening, everybody. It's great that you came out tonight. We appreciate you taking this time to learn about the IB program.
At Mount Pleasant High School, as Mrs. Beal said, my name is Leslie Carlson, so I am responsible for working with the students in 11th and 12th grade. And not only am I the program coordinator, but I am their school counselor. So I will make sure that they are meeting all of their academic requirements. Their college admissions process will go through me, and I'll help them navigate that. And then also make sure that they meet all of the requirements for the IB Diploma program. And as one of 5,000 IB World schools, the IBO monitors the international standards applied equally through rigorous international assessments, and I'll touch on that a little bit. On the screen, it talks a little bit or highlights some of the key components of the diploma program. You can see that there are some overlaps, and students will progress and build on the skills grades 9 through 12. And you know, one of the biggest focuses that we look at and we hear when the students come back, as Mrs. Beadle said, is the preparedness that they feel as they step onto college campuses. Students enrolled in the diploma program take 6 to 7 courses in grades 11 and 12 that are aligned to national standards, but also must follow the standardization of the IBO course requirements. If you reference the screen, you will see the list of required courses. So IB English, IB History of the Americas, and IB Biology are what we consider our higher level courses. So those courses are taught over 2 years, and when the students are assessed at the end of their senior year, they're assessed on a 2-year curriculum. We have our IB Spanish and French. It is considered an SL course, and one of the differences between an SL and an HL is considered contact hours. It also is a 2-year course, and so by the time students are in 12th grade, they would be at a level 5 Spanish or French. So they are very proficient in the language, not only in the writing, but the listening and the speaking. And then they have IB electives that they can choose from. We offer IB Visual Arts, IB Chemistry, IB Design Technology, and IB Psychology. When we talk about the core of the diploma program, these are 3 very unique pieces to the IB program. Mrs. Beadle spoke a little bit about a difference between AP and IB, and where IB is across all subject areas. One of the other really unique components of the diploma program are these 3 components. So the extended essay is an independent research paper that the students conduct over the course of about a year. So we do introduce it during their junior year. They do get a supervisor. They work very closely with our librarian, and then it is due the middle of their senior year. It is a research paper of their choice. We certainly give them a lot of support in learning how to do the research and write this level of paper. Theory of Knowledge is a course that really helps to develop a coherent approach to learning. So when we talk about TOK, or Theory of Knowledge, we want them to assess the way they think, the way they know, why they think that way. And it's not a philosophy course. You're not trying to convince somebody to see something your way or say you're right and I'm wrong. It really opens up a lot of real interesting and really deep dialogue amongst the students. They're looking at real world issues, and it's helping them to really understand the process behind the learning. And then the creativity, activity, and service builds from the 9th and 10th grade. So in 11th and 12th grade, they have about 18 months to complete the requirements for CAS. And really what IB is challenging the students to do is to develop the other part of the student. We know that academics are important. That's why we all go to school. That's why we want our kids to go off to college. We want our kids to go to the workforce. We want them to go wherever they want to go. But to be balanced, we want the students to use their creative brain. We want them to be active, and we want them to be involved in service. And to me, this is one of the most unique components of the diploma program. When we talk about the assessments, the diploma is awarded to students who, at the end of their senior year, the diploma is awarded to students with a score range of 45 to 24 points, and all IB assessments are scored by internationally trained scorers. So if you think back to the other slide when I was talking about courses and when they culminate, some of their courses will culminate in their junior year. So they would take their IB exams
May of their junior year. The remainder of the courses will culminate in their senior year. All of that gets put together, and then the IB results are actually released July after the students graduate. So what is happening is the colleges are looking at the students' transcripts and seeing that the students have chosen a rigorous path through high school. It's not dependent on them earning the diploma. So the benefit, or one of the benefits of being involved in this, is the challenge that you're getting on a daily basis, the exposure that you're getting across your curriculum, and those other three core components are what make the program so beneficial to students. And then just to give you a little bit of a backstory, the Brandywine School District is the first public school district in the state of Delaware to offer an IB World School education to the members of its community. Establishing the IB at Mount Pleasant High School in 2004 and Tally Middle School in 2005. The program started with 23 students and today has graduated 957. We do have a very diverse makeup within our program, and it really does, the enrollment within the program is representative of the enrollment here at Mount Pleasant High School. Our students receive acceptances to multiple schools prior to achieving their IB diploma. Colleges and universities accept our students based on the challenging and rigorous coursework students embark upon graduation. Here's just a list of some of the few schools that our students have chosen over the last several years. And these are some pictures of some of the students showing you where they've gone to school. The majority of our students are accepted to the University of Delaware as one option for their post-secondary education. Many of our graduates go on to receive acceptance to some of the top universities in the country with scholarship money to support that education. And you can see a couple of our students have gone to some international schools, and the majority do end up staying stateside. And on average, our students earn over $4.5 million annually in scholarships and grants. And at that point, I'm going to invite Mrs. Beadle and the students back to the podium to talk a little bit about their experiences in the IB program so far.
This is my favorite part because I love my kids. So, I got 4 brave volunteers to come and share their perspective with you. The only thing that I'm going to add to what I asked you guys to kind of think about was mention where you went to school last year, because I meant to ask you guys to do that last time and I forgot. So, where you're coming from and then, you know, your perspective. So first up, I'm going to have Julian Arnold. He's going to join us.
Oh. So for that last question, I didn't go to middle school. I was homeschooled from 3rd grade to 8th grade. So it was like, I expected the transition to be somewhat rough, you know, being used to just waking up, doing schoolwork on my bed, then maybe playing with my friends for a bit and going to sleep. And then that on repeat for a few years. But everyone here is really nice. Like, even like you'll see some kids and you'll see, oh, they're misbehaving and they're not quite listening to the teacher. They're probably not the nicest person. And then you get to talk to them and they're like surprisingly nice. Like, I haven't really met anyone mean here, so that's pretty good. So it's a very good environment. So I'm in 9th grade, and one of the things that I really like about the IB program is that, like, it's hard enough that it's not like, oh, just easy A's. Nothing is a challenge, I'm just blowing through it. Like, I'm actually learning, but it's not like too much. I can like participate in after school activities like mock trial. I just came back from my 2nd track practice, and that's a lot of running, but it's fun. And I'm also part of a newspaper, so I'm looking forward to finishing more stuff on that. So it's a lot of work, but not too much that is unreasonable. What made me choose IB? I mean, it'll help you get into college. They really like it on your college applications. My parents did a lot of research on it. I did a lot of research on it. It just seems like a very smart choice. And it's a lot cheaper than going to like a private school that would also look good on your resume. but I do feel like I do receive a quality education here, even if it is not a private school or a charter school. And I really feel that like the IB counselors are doing a very good job, because on like it was like the first or second day here, I didn't understand how periods work because I've been homeschooled for a very long time. I'm like, this is just the thing that's in like high school movies. I don't know how this actually works. And so I just went to Miss Beadle's office, and she's like, okay, here's a list of every single period for every single day for like the next 3 months. And I figured out how it worked, all because of her. So it is a very good choice. It'll help you get into college. It's not too much. It leaves room for like extra activities. And I just feel it's a really good choice.
Hi, my name is Melinda Gillespie. I'm a 9th grader here at Mount Pleasant, and I actually came from out of state, so I don't know if any of you guys know Cecil County, Maryland, but I went to Perryville Middle School there. It was really hard trying to adjust to a new school, you know, new people and all, but the school itself is really great in terms of, you know, doing that and making students feel included, and, you know, in terms of like the IB, the 10 IB like important learner traits. There we go. The 10 important IB like learner traits. Those are things that I have started to implement in my daily life. It's definitely things that, you know, I move forward with, and they help me become a better person. So, for instance, I'm really shy. When I first meet people, I don't talk a lot, and on the first day of school, you know, I kind of just sat around. And knowing that, you know, being a risk taker was something that I was going to have to learn how to do, in math class, my first period of the day, I actually walked up to the first person ever, and I made a new friend. She's actually one of our guest speakers, Julian. So, you know, like those implements are something that, you know, I think are really important in life in terms of moving forward. I'm involved with a lot of activities here. I do Mornings at Mount, which is our broadcast announcement. I do indoor track. I was a volleyball manager. I do yearbook, and I also do Blue Gold, which is our program for helping to bridge the gap between people with mental and physical disabilities. So, you know, there's a lot of things here. The administration is great. The learning is great. As Ms. Beadle said, we are forced to become thinkers, and I love the fact that we do it because it creates more, you know, imaginative minds out of us. I learned so many different thoughts and ideas from my peers and my friends that I wouldn't have otherwise known going to a regular school. So there's definitely things out there to get you focused, to push you more. Like, we're even doing our own personal experiments in science class right now. So it's something to get your mind flowing, something that definitely helps you adjust to the world, which is good because we're gonna get thrown into the real world and we gotta fall on our feet. So, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Thank you guys for listening.
Hey guys, my name is Dylan Kim. I came from Springer when I just joined here. I joined IB because I wanted to have a new learning experience and get a bit more knowledge. And I wanted to get into something the hardest possible, just because, right? And I do Jrotc marching band and jazz band. Marching band and jazz band are pretty self-explanatory. Jrotc is a leadership development program, and along with other life skills. It is Army related, but it's not a recruitment program. That's it for all I do because I wanted to focus on things. Right, and the classroom environment is pretty chill. You do learn a lot, but it is also the similar things you learn outside of IB. But you are forced to think more like my peers have said here. Yeah, I'm kind of blanking out. So one thing about IB, my peers did say people are very nice, and I don't disagree. They are pretty nice. But just like everywhere else, you're gonna see drama, and you're gonna see all the dark sides of IB, and you're gonna have to go through it. I'm just giving you a brutally honest opinion here. And you're gonna hit a lot of teachers, a lot of students, and you're gonna be forced to go through it. But guess what? You'll do that anyway in 3 years or 4 years when you go into the real world. And this is the closest thing you have of getting used to adult life. Yeah, it kind of sucks. I'm in 10th grade. So yeah, there's the good side and there's the bad side, and you guys just gotta get through it. I don't know what else to say to you. Well, I do think that you guys can go through it because you've set this challenge for yourselves, and I believe that anyone can get through IB, but it is very tough. So yeah, that's all I have.
Hi, I'm Juliet, and this is the first time I've ever spoken into a microphone, so it might be awkward. I think my favorite thing about IB is the fact that as soon as I got there, like all of my classes had essentially the same people, except my extracurricular classes or my, what are they called? Electives. So like gym and art, of course I had people that I don't know, but on my other classes I had the same IB kids, which is really nice because I was coming, this is not my year pattern, which means I was meeting a bunch of kids that I don't know, and it was very nice to have like recurring classmates, like Melinda, who was my first friend. And I think the hardest part about IB for me is math and the languages. I take Spanish. Spanish is a very hard thing to try to learn in a classroom where you're only there 2 or 3 times every week. They kind of jump right in when you're in IB. Like in middle school, it was always gradual change. First few days were icebreakers, but they kind of just jump right in IB. They're just like, okay, here's your homework, here's your classwork, this is what I expect of you. They have all of that right away. And I wasn't exactly prepared for it because the past year I've been Zoom and learning from home, but I think that we've managed the workload pretty well because they just taught us how to manage our time, and they gave us reasonable assignments, and if you don't have reasonable assignments, you can say, hey, I think this is too much for me, I can't handle this right now. Like, there's always partial IB, which you can do. I'm actually planning on doing that next year. And of course, if you have a class that you think is too hard or something like that, you can always talk to your guidance counselor about it, ask if you can get something like, I'm in Spanish 2. I was thinking about going back to Spanish 1, but I had already made friends in Spanish 2, so now I'm stuck there. And I really think that IB is kind of, I love Miss Pritchett's class. Okay, if you take IB, you're gonna love Miss Pritchett's class. She teaches English, and that's really the most that the IB learner profile traits actually come to shine, because that's when you see, like, she makes you do bell work, which is basically a warm-up, but it's also kind of a debate, and it's really nice because you get to voice your opinion. So that's definitely something you have to look forward to. And I just think that if it's too much for you, you can always lessen your workload if it's too much. It's kind of all up to you.
All right. So, my name's Evan. I'm not up there. I am a senior. I'm the only upperclassman that is talking tonight. These guys are really right, though. Like, IB is great. The teachers are amazing. The atmosphere that you work in is even better. What they didn't touch on, because they haven't done it yet, is 11th and 12th grade DP program. It's very hard. It does get harder. But with that, you get a lot more responsibility. You get a lot more free pacing and self-pacing along with that. Kind of like your personal project. It's a lot more self-paced, self-taught. Like, your kids will need to be able to step up to that and meet that goal, kind of. But the teachers will always be there to help them. I'm sure that they have heard all of it. I'm here to help you guys, blah, blah, blah. I talked to a teacher today that I don't even have. She helped me like 8 times already in like 2 days. So they are always here to help. No matter who it is, no matter who walks through their door, they will help them. And also the counselors. I don't know how many times I've went to Ms. Beadle's office, but it's too many to count, and she is extreme. She's just an amazing person. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. You guys definitely should come here out of any of the other high schools. Just saying. Here's our principal.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mrs. Curie Calderon-Lacey. I am the building principal at Mount Pleasant High School, so welcome. I'm sorry to get a chance to welcome you on the front end, but as you know, we have a basketball game going on, and I had to go make a quick alert to families, so I stepped out before you guys got started. But I'm going to do what they call the sweep up, mop up, and touch on some things that I don't think you heard, but you probably want to hear. So first, a little bit about me. I've been the principal here. This is my 4th year. I've been here 16 years this year. I was a former middle years teacher and a former diploma program teacher in the world language content area. I am the mother of an IB graduate and watched 4 years of my child going through the challenges that my students expressed to me. So when we tell you that there are challenges in the program, there are good challenges in the program. We are known for building the character of students and helping them learn how to get through high school with skills that better prepare them to get through college. A lot of times curriculum is provided and students are just getting through it, but they're not learning it. In the IB philosophy is an international philosophy that is infused in all IB international schools, so we're one of over 3,000 schools worldwide that follow the IB philosophy, but we follow the state and the national standards of the Americas. So our students are still getting the American standards in learning that would apply to their college experiences, but they're getting that with an additional piece, which is the IB philosophy of how do we think, how do we analyze, how did I learn what I learned, and how did I now present that to the next person? So being able to articulate learning, being able to demonstrate learning with detailed orientation so that if you were the person who now had to present that to someone who didn't know, they could learn from you. And so when the students talk about the classroom environment being one where there's rich of conversation, where there's debate, where there's discussion, that's in the IB philosophy and that structure. So the middle years program starts with a foundation in 6th grade at Tally Middle School. They continue 9th and 10th grade with us. So even if you didn't go to Tally, you would come here and you would get that continuation in the 9th and 10th grade. And then in 11th grade, you have the option to go full program or partial program. We encourage all students to go full program on the onset because sometimes you're shying away from something because of word of mouth, but not because of experience. And so we want students to really try to integrate themselves into the IB profile and integrate themselves into the IB philosophy when they get into the diploma program. If it does become too hard, I always say, know your student, know their stress levels and what they can and cannot manage. So it's not an impossible program. It's not this, like we say, our kids do complain because they complain about everything, right? It's too hard, I can't do it. But the reality is that we're here in support and our staff are here in support to get students to learn how to navigate through this process. But if there is a student who it's just not for them, but they still want to take science and math because that's my strength, then we go partial program for those students because we want to encourage students to challenge themselves in those areas of strength so that their transcript for college can demonstrate those abilities. So it may not be for all, but we welcome all. But we also recognize that having some is more important than having none. And I think that's what you walk away with when you think about our IB program. Obviously, as being the first public school in the state of Delaware who's run the program, we have really created a culture where a lot of our families have 2nd and 3rd, I say generation, but siblings that have come through the program, because they're the same generation as siblings. But we see many siblings and cousins come through because they understand that What they're getting here is a school within a school. It's a program within a school. So we have 1,147 students currently. We have about 300 and change that are in the IB program, 300 and change that are in the AVID program. Jrotc has about 200. And then in special education, we have about 200 students with IEPs. We are an inclusion program. Our students with disabilities are welcomed into the IB program. We do not exclude. Our whole purpose is about including all students. We have an autism program in our school for diploma and non-diploma students. So when they talk to you about the richness of the culture and the integration of how welcoming our school is, we have a lot of diversity, and we offer a lot of opportunities for students to really be involved in things that they're interested in. So when you're shopping around, because you should, we all have done it, when you have a student who's going on to high school, you've got to make the choice that's best for your student, but also listen to your student when they say what they think is best for them. Diverse population of our students have talked to you about their experiences, and they have to love where they're going to go. So we hope that you pick Mount. If you have questions about Mount Pleasant, we're available anytime. Our counselors, you can email them, call them. If you want to come and do a shadow, we can do that. If you want to check out a tour, we're going to be sending out tour schedules soon, so you can actually come see the school and walk through the school. But we're here, and we want you to make the best choice for you, but we would love for you to choose Mount Pleasant, because we do think that we're the greatest place on the planet. We have been ranked by U.S. News for the last 7 years, either #1 or #2 school in the state of Delaware. And that's based on our academic curriculum and the enrollment of our population, having a diverse population of students who are performing well academically. And our IB program has 100% enrollment in college. So those colleges you see there is where most of our students are going, but our students get accepted anywhere between 1 to 20 schools based on their application, just from having IB on their transcript, not from having their IB diploma. So I think that's what really sets us apart when you talk about AP and you talk about maybe a parochial school setting. It's got to be what you're looking for. So we welcome you, but we also understand that we support you in the process, and we wish you well in that. So I'm going to hand it back over to Ms. Beadle. We will take questions at the end from you. Ms. Beadle's going to close it out with some information regarding choice, and then we'll stick around until the last question.
I want to thank my students. It's a lot, right? It's a lot to be 14, 15, 16, and then have somebody email you and say, hey, I need you to come out and talk to these people. Will you come? And they say yes. And they've never spoken in front of people before. So, but that's one of the attributes of our program. One of the things I really love about my kids, they're go-getters. And the newspaper that Julian talked about being a part of, I had 2 students come to my office in September and say, 2 freshmen, and say, Ms. Beadle, there's no newspaper. And I was like, well, we used to have a newspaper, and I'm not sure what happened. Well, we want to start the newspaper again. What do we have to do? I gave them 2 directions. They met with Mrs. Lacey, and then the next thing you know, our newspaper is back up and running again. So those are the type of students that we have the quality and the privilege to actually work with. So the benefits of the IB education, and you've heard this stuff before, but I can't really emphasize enough. One of the best things about it, and I'll tell this to people all the time, is that the same thing that you would want to get at a private school or parochial school, you're going to be able to, the same level and rigor of education, you're going to be able to get here, and I'm not going to ask you to pay for it, except for this stuff when we get to the exams later on in life. But it's the same type of attention to detail. I love my kids, and I would do anything for them, and it's a rotating door in and out of my office. We really have the ability, Mrs. Carlson and I, since we work just with the IB students, to focus on your students, spend time with them, get to know them on an individual basis, really know what their hopes and dreams are, and support them going to wherever it is that they would like to go. Because like I said, we have our students just to focus on. So you're getting those benefits, you're getting that personal attention, you're getting that one-on-one. You email me, you email Mrs. Carlson, we're getting back to you that day. We're returning phone calls right away. We're really responsive and really able to support our students. Our students, again leave prepared for post-secondary education and life. So the application process for 8th grade students, families can apply on the schoolchoicede.org. Even if this is your feeder school, you're going to log on to schoolchoicede.org and apply there, because you're choosing the IB program at Mount. That opened obviously on November 1st, and it's going to run to January 12th, 2022. That will remain open. If you're a current Tally student, you can contact me for that process. Families are asked to submit supporting documentation as described on the site, so that's going to be grades. It's going to be sitting for a writing assessment. Those dates are located on our website. And it's also going to be teacher recommendations. It's just an easy Google link that you can send to teachers. It's not a bunch of paper shuffling back and forth. You just send the Google link, and then it ports right over to me, so it's pretty easy to do. So I want to thank you for your time and attention. Melinda was remiss. She said she whispered in my ear, she said, Ms. Beadle, there's something that I really wanted to tell everybody that I forgot to tell them. So if you have a minute, can you let me back up? So I'm going to let you back up.
Okay, so I heard what Miss Lacey said, and I thought it was important for people who may not have students in the IB program, or siblings or things like that. That the IB, to know that the IB program is actually a good step for your child. I have had family go through this school and go through the IB program. That is why I'm here, because my family knows so much about it. It was like, this is where you need to be. Like the kids in my family that have came from this program and went on, have gone to top colleges, and they've done great things, and they're doing great things. So I think it's important to know for people that they don't know, like, is this the path that I should be taking my child? My family actually has a history of knowing that this school works out. This school creates good children and good adults for the lifelong success. So thank you.
And we had Evan's brother too. Evan's older brother is an IB graduate as well. So, at this point, that's the end of our formal presentation. If anybody has any questions, I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you might have. Yes, ma'am.
So, you had mentioned something about math, and so the child coming from the gifted program at Jrotc, and they're in fast track math. She's taking geometry right now. So, how does that then translate into going to your program as a freshman?
She'll take Algebra 2. She'll start freshman year with Algebra 2. And then her sophomore year, she'll start with her IB Diploma math. There's two different tracks. Your higher level math is going to be analysis and approaches, and then there's also applications and interpretations, which is the standard level math. She'll complete that by junior year, so she'll test in that in junior year, and then typically our seniors will opt to take calculus or AP Calc or Stat their senior year. So
They can still take AP level classes in the IB program, because that's a process as gifted family. That's kind of where we're like, okay, what do we do? Do we send her to the school that's closest to us and have her just take honors and AP classes, or should we do a program like this? Because we do believe in the well-roundedness of the community and the understanding the different cultures and things like that. But obviously academics are pretty strong in our household as well. So we're just trying to figure out what the best move is for her. And she's been getting information from like siblings that are in the program. But we just want to hear from you guys. She'll still be able to take these classes. So, I guess do I need a mic? No? Okay. So, I think, AP, static structure course, there's no continuum of vertical alignment of the courses. Like it's stats, it's calc, it's world history, like it's very U.S. history. IB, it's an inclusion of curriculum. So with our math program, that integration kind of flows together. And so what happens with IB Diploma, the assessments are very different. AP, you sit, you get a structure, and it's very static. IB is looking at higher level or standard level, anywhere from 1 to 3 assessments, 4 assessments for HL courses. The assessments are broken, they call paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, paper 4. Some of them are external essays that go out to internationally graded. So when we look at the development of IB is looking to make sure that the student is learning the information, analyzing, processing information, being able to take independent research, remodel research, so it's very in-depth knowledge of teaching. So as the kids are learning, they're learning content that is going to go beyond that classroom, that assessment. When they get into a biology class, and I'll use my daughter as an example, she's in a college bio class, freshman year, she already had all that stuff covered because she's taken IB bio courses for 2 years. So there's a certain depth of knowledge and understanding that they have to be able to reproduce. Typically AP, and this is what we talk about the distinction between AP and IB. You've got to know your student. If your student is very linear and they're a better test taker with linear concepts that are very static and stuck, then AP is a better fit suit for that student. But if your student is a student that's very analytical, who wants to debate, who wants to prove thesis, who wants to give argument, then IB is more in that realm because they're constantly having debates on topics, they're analyzing topics, they're researching material. So that's the distinction. And I speak from every course. As a world language teacher, my students took 3 assessments. They had a paper 1, paper 2, paper 3. Paper 1 was analyzing text, being able to show that you can interpret text, analyze it in the grammatical. Paper 2 was more concrete of essay. You had to read a sample and then write a response to an essay. Then the final one was the oral assessment where the students either had a prompt, but they had to be able to articulate, not perfectly, but you see that there's this depth of interpretation. Biology is that way, chemistry is that way. So IB diploma courses are really integrated into a college environment where it's like a lab, then it's a discussion, then you're having a debate. Whereas AP courses, they have a very strict curriculum that they have to follow, and then it goes to the test. You just gotta know your kid and what's the better fit for them. Our kids do have the option. We go for AP Chem, AP Bio, AP US, AP Psychology, AP English, Lit, AP Lang. So we have options. So we have some IB kids that say, I'm partial IB, and I'm also taking AP. We have some kids that are straight all IB. There's an option. It's just got to be a good fit. And then, of course, with everything else that we offer our kids, we have the arts, we have the music, and so there's options for kids to do a lot here. And I think, again, that goes back to why we're being recognized as a school, because we have diverse curriculum that can fit every kid's needs. Don't have everything, so I'm not going to lie to you. I might not have every single thing you want, but we can have conversations about how we can make some things happen. So I hope that helps you kind of have that distinction between the two.
I personally consider not like the competitive arts program. I'm over at here, my year at school before CAP. But in the visual arts program, they just understand art classes. They were never very helpful. There's kind of like a filler. Didn't really learn a lot if you were already like art was your thing.
Yeah.
It's the arts program, the visual arts program.
So we offer IB art, AP art. IB art, again, is going to have a lot of in-depth analysis. You'll learn portrait, you'll learn watercolors, you'll learn 3-dimensional, 2-dimensional, you'll do some photography, you'll do some ceramics. This is a lot of options. You do that in all of our art classes, like our art teacher from Art 1, Art 2, to the AP art, to the IB art. Like, it's very in-depth of what she offers. The difference, again, in the IB is that you're going to be looking at artists internationally, you're going to analyze art, you're going to learn how to demonstrate and set up a full exhibit that's your artwork. So you'll learn some skills that are beyond the AP is one specific portfolio you're submitting. IB's portfolio has a lot of variety and a lot of analysis that you will learn because that track is specific to art. But you'll also have chemistry, you'll also have design, you'll also have English. So it's just a matter of what you're looking for. And, you know, CAB is phenomenal. You've got to visit both. You've got to figure out what's the best fit for you, right? We have theater production, but we don't have dance. Like, CAB has things that we are not going to be able to offer you, but we will be able to offer you through our theater program some of those things that CAB offers, but it's not going to be in a classroom setting. So you just got to kind of figure out, you know, I would say visit and see what you think, right? We do have one student that came last year. This is his first year in CAB, right? Mm-hmm. He's a 10th grader, so if you wanted to shadow, we could definitely pair you up with someone that can give you some variety.
You heard it here.
Because, I mean, we have a gym full of people, like, watching basketball. Why can't I have some shadow? As long as we don't have 20 kids at home. We'll work it. Any other questions? Yes.
I'm a little confused about the logistics of registering. He's currently in a charter school, but we are zoning them
If he is attending outside of the district currently, he would have to be registered in the district. That's a separate process. Going through the choice application process, even if he is this, and you said this is his feeder pattern school, you would just fill out the application for IB at Mount. And then once you get that acceptance letter, and then I would send you information, Mrs. Coley's our registrar, I would send you information about how to contact Mrs. Coley and get the district registration piece done. Because that's a separate thing from the application for our program. We have to get all of his information, and they want immunizations and, all of that other cube file stuff. They have to get that done on a district level, so that's a separate process from applying to the program.
And it doesn't have to happen before you
No.
apply. It can happen after. Like, once you make your choice on what you're going to do, if you're going in district, well, even in or out, because he's moving into high school, you have to register in your feeder school before you can go into any other school, and then they'll transfer those files. I don't know why it's done that way, but typically it's because you're changing from from middle school to high school, or from elementary to middle school. Those transitional years, if you're not in your feeder school, then you have to register in order to continue the educational process. But it can happen after.
And one of the good things about coming here is then you can call me and say, Mrs. Beadle, I don't know what I'm doing. And I will say, okay, hold on for a second. Let me get you all the things that you need and tell you exactly where to go and exactly who to talk to. And I'll get you all squared away.
So in terms of a lot of high schools, there's typically a specialty elective focus. I graduated from that very high degree of focus towards mechanical writing. Elective and everything. What would you consider your top one or two kind of focal, your focus elective programs, so to speak, your selling point programs, so to speak?
So, we are an inclusive school. We have a lot of programs. So depending on the population, I have culinary arts, I have design engineering, I have early childhood teacher academy, I have business, I have broadcast design engineering, which the kids in the back are filming this for that program, right? What am I missing? Jrotc.
Thank you.
So, like, depending on the population, I have like over 200 kids in culinary arts, right? I think we have over 200 in design engineering. So and some kids are taking multiple electives because we have so many offerings. We have tons of kids that are doing band, choir, orchestra. So it just really, we have kids who are doing art, right? So where does the kid want to go? Sometimes kids come in and they're like, I'm all about design engineering. And then they're like, wait, I like that broadcast engineering class better. So in each of those areas, we have over 200 kids enrolled. And like I said, they can have multiple programs that they're in. So I can't say that there's one, culinary, everybody loves to cook because they don't want to bake and, but. And most kids want to do more than one thing, right? They're still exploring their options for the future, so.
And about half our kids that come are set on something, right? And so we'll do course selection and they'll say, I want this, this, and this, and this, this. And I say, okay. So we do the schedule and I do the best I can to get everybody exactly what they want, but sometimes I can't, make miracles. And I'll say, sorry about that. I had to put you in radio. And then what happens is they come back a week later and they're like, I don't want this class. So I'm like, okay, just wait. And then they go, and then they come back 2 weeks. I really like that radio class. Is there a radio 2? Is there a radio 3? So having all these opportunities and all these places for kids to go and to find themselves, I think is a great opportunity. Because, like I said, did everybody end up doing what they thought they wanted to do in the 9th grade? I think I wanted to be a veterinarian. So having all the opportunities is just fantastic, and trying to get them to kind of broaden their horizons and try something new is a great thing I think that we're able to do here.
And keep in mind that they can only fit 8 courses on their schedule. And our schedule rotates, we're our block schedules, they have 4 classes on one day and the other 4 on the other, and then it rotates every other day. So they're having 90-minute classes, and that part is really rich for our students, because if I am in design or if I am in radio and I'm putting a PSA together, then I need more time to work in the lab. And if I have a 45-minute class and I'm leaving 8 classes a day, I'm not getting that rich quality out of it. So, it's 8 periods for every student, and we try to give them everything. And some kids come and they say, I want these 10 classes, and I'm like, well, you better figure out which 2 you're gonna get rid of, right? Because you just can't do it. But, yeah, we do 4 classes, like 1 through 4 on one day, and 5 through 8 on another, and then they keep. That's a 4x4 block.
And you could go like a whole year not having that.
Yes, that's a 4x4 block, we don't do that, no. Because that is,
Yeah, I couldn't keep up.
no, that's for a 4x4 block, which is semester and semester, so you have semester 1, semester 2. We have 2 semesters, we have 4 marking periods, and it's the whole year is the block rotation. Yeah, I'll say that. It's smart. Anybody else? Yeah.
Can you just tell me briefly about that?
AVID?
Yeah.
Okay, so AVID is Advancement via Individual Determination. It's an acronym. AVID is a national and becoming an international program. We are, all 6 of our secondary schools have an AVID program. The program is designed for middle-of-the-road students that maybe are not achieving academically at the level of their potential. And it helps to get them prepped and geared for college education. So it starts in our 6th grade program. I think they're starting to consider elementary with the AVID program. And it focuses on either first generation going to college or other. So it's not exclusive to students who would be a first generation. So there are other ways that you can get into AVID. It's geared towards building the foundation for study skills, academic enrichment, and helping the students develop those strategies to help them be better learners and better thinkers and better writers. So it's based on the foundation of reading, writing, inquiry, collaboration, and organization, and helping those students that maybe don't have those skills but have the potential. And what we see, like last year, I think we graduated the first 2 AVID students that were AVID IB. I think we have a few this year that are doing AVID and IB at the same time. Because some students just need that background foundation. They don't have it, but they have this, and they have the ability. They just need someone to kind of guide that process. It's very strong on organizational skills, and they take an elective course over 4 years. So each year they have their AVID elective teacher, and it's kind of like, I used to be AVID teacher. I did everything this way. So I used to be an AVID elective teacher, and I had my students over the course of 4 years. And I was mom, counselor, tutor, managing grades, helping you to organize your notebook, and then I was pushing you to classes to make sure you were keeping up with your grades, right? So we have currently 8 AVID classes, 2 at every grade level. I'm always looking to add more kids to the AVID program as well. And we have over 200 students enrolled in that program. And it is an application program as well, but it's not a choice application program. So you can just apply to AVID. But it doesn't require you to choice it.
One of our students who graduated, or one of our AVID students who graduated last year was also an IB student. I remember having a conversation when he was a sophomore, and I said, well, what do you want to do? He's like, what do you want to do? And he said to me, I want all the chords, Mrs. Beadle. However, whatever I can get a chord for, I want all the chords. I want to graduate with all the chords. And when he graduated, he had all the chords. He had AVID, IB, I think, and a few others. Honor Society.
French Honor Society. There's a lot here. And certainly, like I said, if we haven't answered your questions, don't hesitate to email any of us. We're quick to respond and give you whatever information you need. Talk to the community, talk to people you know that have had the students in the program. Our parent network is one of the greatest networks. They work very well with us as a school. And they're very involved in making sure that the students, not just at IB students, but that all students are getting resources. So, and that's a great part of our community.
And I'll follow up with her later about that promise to shadow. So you all heard it.
Yeah.
We're gonna see what we can do. And I'll push that out on our website probably, if that's something we can do. Because it's the best part. I mean, I could talk all day about how great I think the building is, but until you're here.